What's going on, guys? Chansuke here. So this video will be part of the series where I try to teach you guys how to become better tank drivers in Battlefield 4, and today I will try to teach you guys a very important skill for tanking, and that is actually how to aim with the main battle tank. Now, aiming personally, I don't find it to be too hard, but I have seen so many people fire their shells. They have the bullet drop set up correctly, but they don't know how to actually lead their shots, which is a big problem when you're trying to hit moving targets. So that is why I myself run with the AP shell instead of the other two shells, being the HE and the Sabot. The AP shell just has the best of both worlds in my opinion. You get a good amount of splash damage for infantry, and the round also travels relatively quickly, and it isn't extremely slow like the HE. When you decide between the Sabot and the AP shell, you're really either choosing speed or blast radius damage. The damage model is basically the exact same, except for the AP shell does do a tiny bit more damage than the Sabot, but this is only for the rip boat, and I don't really even think that's even a factor when you're deciding between the two shells, because the chance of that tiny amount of damage actually helping you is basically not even there. But more information on the three different shells in another video. I just really want to focus teaching you how to aim with the tank. So whether you're choosing the AP shell or the Sabot shell or even the HE shell, hopefully this guide will help you. Getting started, we have to understand how bullet drop actually works in Battlefield 4 and how bullet velocity will affect how your tank shell travels. Now, if you look on the screen, I actually did some testing done on the test range. What I have done was aim at the exact same spot without zoom optics and fire 3 different tank shells to test out how they dropped. I believe the 3 shells does have the exact same gravity, meaning the rate where they drop towards the earth is the exact same, but I'm not entirely sure what this number may be. My best guess might be 9.81 meters a second. Synthic just does not have these stats on bullet drop and only has stats for the bullet velocity. But from what we can see in these video clips, the HE shell drops the most, the Sabot the least, and the AP shell is just sitting right in the middle. This is because all 3 tank shells have different bullet velocities, obviously, and not because they have different gravities. It just takes the least amount of time for the Sabot shell to travel because it travels at 265 meters a second, and it takes the most amount of time for the HE shell to travel because it is at 150 meters a second. This means the HE shell is being affected by gravity for a much longer period of time, so that is why it drops more than the Sabot shell. It is just simply traveling much faster. So what does this all really mean? To be honest, basically nothing. You really have to have a good grasp of how each shell drops, from the HE, which is the most, to the AP, which is somewhere in the middle, leaning towards the HE shell a bit more, and finally the Sabot shell, which is the shell you have to compensate the least amount of for. There isn't really any tips I can give you to specifically learn the bullet drop other than learning how it works behind the scenes and practicing it. You have to personally get into the tank, choose the shell which you prefer and actually stick to it, and go out there and actually do it. As you play more and more of the tanks, you will understand how each shell works and how fast they will reach your targets. Practice makes perfect. I just didn't hop into the tank and suddenly destroyed everyone. I had to slowly understand and work my way up. But there is a tiny little tip which I can give you if nothing else works out, and that is just to aim a bit higher than what you normally want to aim at. Half a centimeter to a centimeter higher on your monitor should do it. If you find that you're always slightly landing your shots just below your enemy, I think that tip might help you. But again, practice. Don't worry if you missed a few shots, it's normal. You'll eventually get the hang of it, and even now I still miss shots. Now, just calculating bullet drop is only half of it, and that only really works out for you if you're shooting at a stationary target. But come on, who on the battlefield is really truly stationary, except maybe if you're fighting an AA at long range or you're fighting some stubborn tank driver. Chances are the target you will be shooting at will most likely be moving, so it is very important for you to know how to lead your shots so you don't miss. Leading shots is very similar to learning how to manage bullet drop. In a way, it is always all about the feeling and practicing. Depending how small and how fast your target is moving, it is always very different for every situation. You will have to compensate more for small, fast traveling vehicles like Jeeps and ATVs, but once you land that first shot on target, they will be immobilized and it will be an easy kill for you. If you're not just hitting your targets, either try leading a bit more or maybe tone it down because you're overcompensating. Again, it is just something which you have to get a feel for instead of me actually teaching you. So anyways, I hope you guys learned something from this video on regarding aiming with the tanks in Battlefield 4, even though it's just really something you have to go out there and practice. With practice comes success. I hope at least I gave you the basic knowledge, and with more and more kills, you will hopefully become a better tank driver. If you have unlocked the Sabot shell and you have no luck with the AP shell or the HE shell, then maybe go ahead and try that one. It is different for everyone. I personally prefer the AP shell, but I am planning to switch back and forth until I can finally make a decision. So that's about all the tips I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.